Three, two, one, ghost. Hey, everybody. Welcome to 321 Ghost. As always, I'm your host with a silent G, Kyle. Also, as always, joined by my pal Natalie. Hey, Natalie. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Um, hey, y'all. We're bouncing back to the 70s. I want to do a classic, and I wanted to do one that I think I nominated this one. I can't
You did.
remember, but I wanted to do one that I hadn't seen before, an old classic that I had not seen before. And this one had escaped my radar for years and years and years. We're all talking about 1979's Phantasm. Had you seen this movie before?
I have not seen this movie before. And I wonder, well, I guess this is only our second movie from the 70s that we've covered. Is that right?
Is it? I don't know.
Rocky Horror and then this one.
Sure.
Well, when I was watching this, I was like, oh, there's a reason why I don't go back to the 70s often. But no, I've never seen it. So I watched it twice in preparation for us to talk about it today.
There's a reason. Is it just the aesthetic? Is it the or rudimentary like effects or something? Like what is it about the 70s that makes you be like, ugh?
It's I don't actually mind 70s non-horror movies. It's more so I think horror can be very hit or miss for me. This one, I won't show my cards too soon, but it's this balance of like this movie has incredible music, but half of the movie has no music. So
Or too
that's a
much
good
music.
example. Yes, or the music is extremely loud.
I was going to say too much music, like Reggie's playing acoustic guitar over the score playing underneath, and it's so
Yeah.
discordant, it sounds terrible. But yes,
Yeah. So things like that really throw me off and just pacing, the way that lines are delivered and like I'll talk through all of that, but I find that that's a common theme with horror as you go further back in time. So I'm I think that's why I, talk just a little bit of shit because there's some good ones. There's some good ones out there. This one was not my favorite.
I don't know, because I think there's some standout low budget horror,
Mhm.
um, and and very, I don't know how do you
And there's
describe
some
it.
hits. There's some hits from the 70s.
Well, yeah, because I was gonna say, I mean, like, I wouldn't say that about like Exorcist or Halloween or
Mm-mm.
Alien or,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
I don't know,
Those are like big
whatever.
fish, though.
Yeah, it's funny. I was looking at
Jaws.
Piranha popped up. I was like, that's a big fish from the 70s. But I I get you mean th this is a very low budget 70s horror film,
Hmm.
and yeah, I don't know, it's a little slower. I like it. It's got a great vibe to it, and that music does carry it a long way. So when there isn't
Oh
music,
yeah.
I hear you.
The music, yeah, exactly. The music carries it so much that when the music isn't there, I find myself a little bored.
But at the same
So
time, when it hits again, I'm just like, fuck.
it is so good though. Yeah.
So this movie is directed and written by Don Coscarelli, produced by D.A. Coscarelli, according to Wikipedia. I'm going to say, is that you, Don? Might be. And likely. Starring a lot of his friends and, aspiring actors, Michael Baldwin, Bill Thornbury, Reggie Bannister, who's playing Reggie, who's based off himself, essentially. So he's just
Oh,
kind of like playing a version of himself in this
I love
movie.
that.
Um, Kathy Lester, and then you also have Angus Scrimm, who plays this mortician or the tall man. I'll probably in my
Hmm.
notes, I'll probably be going back and forth,
Yeah.
referring to one or the other. But yeah, the music, ooh, Fred Miro and Malcolm Seagrave. So please, I'm sure there's got to be some sort of like vinyl release of this music. It's so
Oh
fucking
yeah.
good.
I would definitely I would just listen to this absolutely.
And it's funny because like also, yeah, like I said, like Reggie plays music in this, like him
Hmm.
and
Jody.
what's his face? Yeah, Jody. And I'm sure they were just like, yeah, dude, fucking throw it in there, dude. Just go and jam for a little bit. I don't
And
even know
they
what that
do.
song is, but I love it.
No. Yeah.
I don't know. So, yeah, neither of us had watched this movie before, so I
Mhm.
don't really, we can really kind of skip right past the part where we talk about, growing up with it.
Well, I will say I have always noticed the VHS covers. It was another one that like the tall man stood out to me. Like I
Hmm.
felt like I had seen this movie for so long because I recognized, you know, the that face. And then I realized somewhere along the line, I was like, oh, I never have seen Phantasm.
Yeah, like I said, it's one of those that was kind of always on my radar. I do very much distinctly remember the VHS covers and the posters, a lot of great art. And but I don't remember like this character. And one thing I didn't know is it also has, I don't know, I kind of put in my notes like this kind of like Spielbergian kind of ET vibe to it,
Hmm.
where it is all through the perspective of this child, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know, how old would you say Mike is in this movie? 12?
Oh no, I would say
Younger?
he's no, I would say he's older. I would say he's 13 or
Huh.
14.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And he's
But
driving. I'd say
oh yeah,
13.
I guess he's driving, but I didn't,
I
yeah,
don't
I
think he's
couldn't
legally
tell.
driving. Like, didn't everyone drive in the 70s? So I'm like, I would say he's 13 or 14 just based off of his build and his like the way he communicates.
In this movie, a spoiler alert, and then also kind of a half spoiler alert because there are so many of these movies, or at least there's like what, four or five that
Yeah.
span from this one in 79. I think the most recent one was in 2016. I think they all have some combination of Angus Scrimm and Reggie Bannister, maybe the guy that plays Mike is in a couple of them. I don't know.
Hmm.
But the movie is posed as a dream,
Mm-hmm.
or and then this kind of like, or is it kind of thing at the end. But
Yeah.
it's it's kind of a really sad movie.
It's a very sad movie. Like it's confusing and then it's sad. For that's how I watch this movie. I have a lot of thoughts.
Well, and then of course, yeah, it kind of explains away why this plot is so disjointed and doesn't always completely make a whole lot of sense. So y'all bear with me as we go through this. But
Yeah. Yeah, is that just an excuse for it to not make sense that it's a dream?
it is just very dreamlike, especially like when you like I just remember that random shot where, you just have like Jody like randomly on a bicycle going down the street and Mike just running after him and never
You're
being able
like,
to
why is he
catch
on a
up.
bicycle?
And you have random characters that all of a sudden just show up without any mention prior. And
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, oh, it's just fucking Sally, or oh, it's just fucking Myrtle. Who the fuck is Myrtle? You
There are Myrtle.
know? Yeah.
I don't even
So
remember Myrtle.
we'll get there. And yeah, I don't know, but then of course, obviously this movie has a lot to do with, how if you see it as a dream, it is how this kid processes mourning
Mm-hmm.
from trauma, like severe fucking trauma, like losing both of his parents and then shortly after losing his brother as well.
Mm-hmm.
So being absolutely alone, being like what, 13, 14 years old. And so then it makes sense watching the movie from the beginning, seeing like, oh, okay, this is a kind of thoughtful, look at like how like a child would kind of process that, like in his dreams or in his nightmares. So I, I like this movie. The more I think about it.
The more you're talking, the less I'm liking it because everything that you're saying feels like an excuse for how much the movie doesn't make sense to me. But when we go through the plot, I'll say like what I take issue with. But if it's a dream, why is the tall man attacking him from the walls or the whatever they call them, the little caped dwarves that have dog growls?
I don't know. Can you explain all the weird fucking shit that happens in your dreams?
No, but I'm just saying, like clearly awake by that point, if that's the case.
I don't think we ever saw Mike awake the entire movie. It starts immediately with, he's dreaming about Tommy getting murdered in this graveyard.
So is his death at the end still part of his dream?
Whose death?
Um,
Tommy's?
Tommy's.
Maybe not. Probably not. Might as well just hop right into this, huh?
Let's get into it.
Dang, I'm really, ooh, geez. Here, I'm thinking we're gonna have a pleasant evening. You're coming at this hard. We'll see.
It's more fun
So,
this way.
so we open at this graveyard. We're gonna be at this graveyard quite a bit in this movie,
Morningside.
and we are following Tommy, who is getting laid in the graveyard. Y'all don't have sex in a graveyard. There you go.
Oh, I was going to ask you. Literally, one of my first notes is cemetery sex. Where do we stand on that?
No, absolutely not. Not in a haunted house, not in a cemetery, not in a, you know, former like institution or asylum of some sort.
Yeah, I guess anything like sexual, I feel like would rile up like ghosts or
Yeah.
any murderous creatures that might be about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
that's
that's
kind
fair.
of where I land. Um, but maybe we don't know Tommy and we don't, he's an adventurous type. We don't know. Or maybe he's like, hey, if they were negotiating earlier and this
Well, I
lady in
mean, she lured
lavender.
him there.
Yeah. She's like, I want to have sex with you, but it can only be in this one place and at
Mhm.
this one specific grave. It's my sex grave.
My sex grave.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. No, I mean, like if I were Tommy, I wouldn't, but also I wouldn't put it past people to be like, all right, doesn't
But
work out for him though.
here's my question. Does he have sex with her or is he having sex with the tall man? Because all of a sudden, this woman is that man immediately after he gets stabbed.
I don't, I mean, I don't know if it's something where like he shapeshifts
I
into
think he
the lady.
shapeshifts.
Oh, okay. Or if it is like Tommy seeing the lady in lavender, as she's called, but
Mhm.
really it's the tall man on top of him mounted.
But that's what I'm saying. Did he fuck
Yeah.
that old man?
I I mean, technically, yeah.
That that's very interesting. That's a really interesting way to start this movie.
I mean, it's under false pretenses, so I feel pretty icky about it. He thinks he's having sex with the lady in lavender,
That's what I'm
right?
saying. Like, it's kind of strange because at first I thought maybe I was just, you know, seeing it wrong. Like maybe she was there and he was there. But then later in the movie, when Reggie gets stabbed, the same thing happens. The lady in lavender is looking down at him, and then, he's looking up, and all of a sudden it's the tall man. So I thought that that was very interesting and weird.
So she pulls out this knife, stabs him, has sex with him first. So at least like,
I see got
yeah,
laid. Yeah.
yeah, he gets laid,
Yeah.
it's good. And then gets penetrated himself, right,
Yes.
with this knife, and he's dead.
Hmm.
He'll come back in some form though, don't worry. Um, hell of a way to end a trio, right? We're introduced to both Reggie, who
Hmm.
is the family buddy ice cream man.
Yeah.
I love
Wait,
him.
is Tommy their friend or is Tommy is Jody's brother
No,
or their
Tommy,
friends?
they're just a trio of friends,
Okay,
Jody,
okay.
Tommy, and Reggie.
Got it.
And then Jody's younger brother is Mike. So
Got it.
we're introduced to Reggie and Jody here. They say, like, yeah, what a way to hell of a way to end a trio. They think that um Tommy killed himself,
Hmm.
which is
By
pretty
dagger?
pretty like that's some like Shakespearean tragedy. Like go out to a graveyard and say some shit and drive a fucking knife into your heart. Like that's pretty
Yeah, that's brutal.
I know. I think that's how like Elliot Smith killed himself too.
It
Jesus
is,
Christ.
yeah. Hmm.
Ugh,
So
that's
it does
hard.
happen. It happens, but
It happens, but like
oof.
so maybe they all played in a band together.
Probably. It seems like it.
Jody walks around this giant house that's on the property of the cemetery where we assume this mortician lives. What do you call this sort of house? Because there's also
So,
graves in the
isn't it?
house.
It's a mausoleum.
It's a mausoleum. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
it's gorgeous.
so this has to take place like in the South, right? Are there only mausoleums in the South? Or is that
No, there's mausoleums everywhere.
really?
But that's a very unique type. Like, I don't think mausoleums look like that anymore. Like, so some of them look like regular buildings, some of them look like, you know, giant, like tombstone type houses and cemeteries. Like, there's all sorts of different types of um mausoleums, but
I guess I just
they
think of
take
the
a lot of
ones like
space.
in like the graveyards in New Orleans,
Mm.
which aren't quite like that. But so
Yeah.
Jody's walking around, and this is when we learn that Jody's parents have passed because he comes
Hmm.
across the grave of, I believe, his mother.
Hmm.
Mikey is also at this graveyard. Um, there is, and again, this is how you like know this is like a dream, is because there's this repeating pattern of the movie of Mikey being told to stay home, and he immediately doesn't.
Yeah.
So he is at the cemetery without Jody's knowledge, and
Hmm.
on his motorbike, he's around the graveyard. And I think this is where like both of them, both Jody inside the mausoleum, and then you've got Mike in the cemetery, start hearing, on the closed captioning, it said warbling, lots of warbling going on.
Mm. Yeah, it's a terrible sound.
And these like cloaked, shorter figures, like those fucking things in Star Wars. What do you call those things? Run
Oh
around Tatooine?
yeah, they are. Jawas? No.
Sure.
Maybe.
That's
Maybe.
how little I know.
Me too. But I know
So,
what you're talking about, the ones that have like little glowy eyes underneath the hoods.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Jody gets startled by the mortician, who I'll probably just call the tall man at this
Yeah.
point, who startles him and just says like, "Hey, hey, the service is about to start." But he says it like in a pretty like
Very menacing way.
very menacing way. So like already you're just like, okay, what the fuck is going on with this guy?
What's your deal?
Yeah. Um, at the funeral service, open casket, so you see, a pale dead Tommy in there.
Hmm.
And Reggie says to Jody, like, yeah, man, I think it's a good idea that Mikey's not here,
Hmm.
since, again, letting the audience know that like their parents just died, and
Hmm.
yeah, two in a row. I don't know the relationship between Tommy and Mike, but I'm sure
Hmm.
Tommy's been by the house sometimes. I'm sure we knew him as well as Reggie knows them, right?
Yeah, an open casket is
No.
rough.
Yeah.
And that's like they did the world's worst makeup job on Tommy. So um even worse.
So as they have the service inside the church, and then they're going to carry the casket, into the grave and do the second part of the service there. You've got Mike spying from afar, um,
Mhm.
with some binoculars. I forget. I can't remember.
Yeah,
Um, and watching everything happen. As everybody leaves, and goes home, you see the tall man who's there, picks up this fucking casket right back out of the grave,
on his
just
own.
on his own,
Oof.
right? Something that took six dudes to carry, and just casually puts it back inside his hearse.
Mhm.
Mikey's like, "What?" I like,
He literally says, "What the fuck?"
I like that he mouths "What the fuck," and then they show it twice, like
Yeah.
when he's like also recounting the events, to the psychic grandmother, who is just there for that one scene,
Yeah.
and so he tries to fucking bail on his motorbike, um and then just gets thrown off it very
Hmm.
suddenly, and looks and then sees the tall man looking right at him. So he knows, oh, fuck, I'm in deep shit now.
Yeah, he knows you
This
saw
isn't good.
him. And like bad on you. Like he's like destroying all the grass and the turf at that graveyard too. Like, why are you riding your dirt bike through there?
That's also true.
Little asshole.
It's very disrespectful.
It is very disrespectful.
So he goes to, I guess, his friend's house, whose grandmother is a psychic or a fortune teller of some sort.
Yeah, they're an
Um,
interesting pair.
I didn't catch either of their names. Did you?
No, but I thought the granddaughter was one of the girls that's in the car later. Is she Sally?
I didn't think she was Sally, or is she Susie?
Maybe she's Susie. I
I was
thought
trying
she
to
was
look
one
for
of
the
those girls.
star on her cheek.
Yeah, they all look the same,
Yeah.
the girls, so it's hard to tell. But yeah, they're an interesting pair. The granddaughter is a good example of line delivery that like is just so hard to watch and feels like something you wouldn't see in a modern movie, but in a good way, if that makes sense. It's very
I mean,
lifeless.
that's where you can tell that these are just kind of like friends that are playing
Yeah.
small parts. You
Yeah.
know, not too dissimilar from, I don't know when's the last time you saw like a movie like Clerks. It kind of reminded me of that. It was like a spooky version of Clerks, like a
Hmm.
very low budget. Let's keep it back and forth between, I mean, this feels like it has a larger budget because at least just this
Yeah.
mausoleum, right?
Yeah.
But and then just using just like friends around town and just
Yeah.
basing characters off themselves and just being like, all right, you're not Jason, you're Jay. I'll be
Hmm.
Silent Bob, you know.
Yeah.
And you can tell it's almost just like you can kind of tell, I don't know. You can kind of tell Reggie's just, I don't know, friends with Jody,
I well, Reggie is the best one.
Yeah, he is. He's real corny, but I really like him.
Yeah.
So, like I said, he goes to his friend and her grandma and first brings up that he is worried that Jody's going to leave him.
Hmm.
And then, you go to some flashback scenes of him like maybe overhearing that Jody's going to take him to like an aunt's house. The scene that I mentioned earlier, where then like Jody's
Hmm.
just all of a sudden just on a bicycle down the street and
Yeah.
Mike's just running after him and can't catch up.
And are we supposed to know who the man Jody is talking to in the driveway is? The
I think
one,
just another friend
okay, because they like that's the only scene that that guy is in. Like he just pops up and then disappears, right?
happens a lot in this movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So the grandma says, don't worry. He's going to stay with you. Don't even worry about it. And Mike's like, well, I'm already here. I did see this really fucked up thing that happened earlier. Um, do you know anything about that? And of course, they give her nothing, or they give him nothing, rather.
Mhm.
But the grandma's like, don't even worry about that either. But let's play a game. Here's a little box. You want to stick your hand in it? Which he does very quickly.
He shouldn't have done that immediately. I'm not sticking my hand in a box.
I would not do that, right? You
No.
wouldn't, right? Oh, Jesus Christ.
No.
I feel like I'd need to ask at least a couple more questions, like three more questions. And then I would do it. Like I would say, here, I will do it. I promise you I'll do it only if you let me ask three questions, but you also have to answer them truthfully. But I think even then, bringing up a proposal like that, I feel like I'm already in too deep.
What are the three questions? Do you even have them ready?
Am I still gonna have my hand after this connected to me?
A a magic box may appear in front of you if you ask the wrong three questions.
Yeah, I don't know. That'd be my first one is like, is my hand gonna still be working just like it is right now, attached
It,
to everything?
yeah. Do I
Is
get to
you have to
keep
get
my
as
hand?
you have to get as well, you can't just say that because then you just get to
I
keep the severed
know.
hand.
A Wishmaster situation.
Yeah. No, 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 no. You have to be as detailed as possible. Um, and then I would like ask for three more wishes. I don't know. So something grabs him, and starts hurting him. He's able to get his hand out and is like, what the fuck is this? And they're just like, it's all in your head. Don't even worry. And they just kind of like laugh to themselves a little bit, or maybe that's after he leaves.
That's
But he
after
just,
he leaves, but the grandma's laugh is great.
yeah, he just gets up kind of confused and he's like, well, okay, that wasn't helpful. So I'm just gonna leave now.
Yeah. And he's definitely been there and done that before,
Yeah.
which is implied.
We see Reggie at his day job. Just driving around that ice cream truck.
Love
I
it.
love that. Ice cream delivery guy, part-time porch jam band guitarist. I,
I love that he just shows up and just picks up that guitar.
I love it. And then also it was pretty fun. I mean, I play guitar, I play a couple different instruments. So like when people are playing music or playing musical instruments on screen, I feel I can always notice whether or not like they're actually playing or not.
Hmm.
And they look like they were actually doing it.
They do.
So yeah, so I was like, look at that. Like, and the director was like, hey, you know what? Y'all got a tune y'all worked out. Just fucking throw in the movie. Dude, we're only at like 82 minutes here. Yeah, absolutely. Have
Yeah,
at it.
the movie could have been shorter for sure, but it could have been. But this is another thing that so it's everyone in the 70s can drive, play guitar, and shoot a gun. That's what I've learned from this movie.
He also dabbles with a tuning fork, and that's very important. We got to remember that
Hmm.
because he's going to do some dabbling on that later.
Hmm.
Um, we do see it can't be the granddaughter who's there in the car later because we see the granddaughter here really quick, where she then goes to the mausoleum, opens that door, this blue
Oh
door,
yeah,
sees,
that's such a weird shot. It's just like 2 seconds.
yeah, she opens the door, sees some bright white light, and then screams, and that's it. And that's all I think we see of her.
Yeah, that was in my notes of like, what the fuck was that? And we never get any resolution to that.
No.
Yeah, I don't like that.
So that night at the local bar, I forget the name of the bar,
Oh, it had a
but
fun name.
it did. Jody is inside. You have Mikey just creeping, like looking through the window at this bar,
Yeah, he has serious abandonment issues that he is following him around everywhere.
which makes sense that this is like the dream of a child who is like
Lost his
lost
brother.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and because of how like everything moves, like Jody's inside for like what, all of 2 seconds before he
Hmm.
says, "Hey, what's up, lady? Let's go." She's probably like, "Hey, you want to go fuck in the graveyard? I got
Yeah,
a
well, she's up
spot."
to no good. So she, of course, is going to be like, whoever comes up to me next is who I'm taking to the graveyard.
So they go to the cemetery to have sex. Mikey, of course, follows. Again, this is not him suspecting something's weird. This is him wanting to watch his brother fuck in the graveyard.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Mm, Mike,
Yeah.
come on.
He's a fucking little
Ugh,
perv, is what he is.
it's a little perv. I'm not like
Yeah.
that at all. There's
Surprised he
no,
didn't bust out those fucking binoculars again.
like, I get he is sure, fine. He technically, I don't know if it was ultimately helpful that he was there because yes, he technically
He
by
saved
screaming and running through the
Jody.
graveyard saved Jody,
He
not knowing
saved.
that that's what he was doing.
Yeah, for sure.
He just thought he was going to watch his brother have sex with this woman.
Hmm.
So he's not off the hook there.
Um, like I don't have any siblings, but if I did, I would not want to watch them. I would not want to watch them fuck.
Oh,
No. Mm-mm.
no, thank you.
Yeah.
So Mikey's creeping. He's hiding in the bushes, watching them start to go at it. Just getting really. Ugh. He was kind of like that look of excitement, like oh no, we don't talk about this. We haven't talked about this Friday the 13th yet. I'm thinking about part four with Corey Feldman when he's like all getting like
Mm,
super excited, like watching like two people like fuck from across the way
yeah, but
in the
that's our
window.
next Friday the 13th, so we'll get
Yeah.
there.
So Mikey starts to hear noises in the trees that are not his own pervert grunts. And then starts to get chased by another one of these. Are we calling them Jawas? It's gonna be funny if they're not.
I know. Like, should I Google what a Jawa is? Um,
Who
it's
needs to?
fine. Yeah, but we can call them Jawas.
So he starts getting chased and running through the graveyard screaming pretty comically.
It's really funny.
Jody looks up, he's like, the fuck? And of course, the lady in lavender who's actually the tall man trying to have sex with him,
Uh-huh.
um, goes and is just like, well, basically he's just like, ah, that's my brother. I need to go after him,
Yeah.
zips up, goes, runs
I
after.
love though that he has the panties in his mouth when he says like, "Oh, that's my brother," and then he starts running, still with the panties in his mouth, like he's putting on his pants with those panties in his mouth, and then is like, "Okay, fine, I guess I have to get rid of these panties now."
I love that. Was the tall
Right.
man wearing those?
I think so.
Love that.
And they are Jawas, the little creatures with hoods. I was right, so we can call them Jawas.
There we go. So Mikey's like, yeah, okay, fine. I was being a pervert. What? Who cares? It's not a big deal. Let's get over that. We're past that now, Jody. We're past that now. Here's what's going on. Some little Jawa chased after me,
Yeah.
and the mortician is throwing caskets all over the place. You gotta believe me. Jody, of course, does not. And he
No,
was like,
I'd be furious.
I'm gonna go back and have sex with this woman. He's being so patient with Mike
He
right now.
is, yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna give you the keys. You go take the car back to the house. I'm gonna have sex with this woman. I'm just gonna figure it out afterwards, okay? That's how much I need you to get the fuck out of
Yeah,
here
he
right
was
now.
like, I don't even need my vehicle.
Yeah, just go. Um, but it's too late. He goes back and the woman is gone.
Hmm.
He's like, fuck.
And he says that it was probably a gopher in heat that
Oh,
Mike
yeah.
saw. I'm like, what?
Do gophers do that?
I, do they viciously attack at night in the woods when they're in heat?
Mike goes home. Um, and then we like see him have another nightmare immediately of like being back in the graveyard in his bed.
Mhm.
The tall man standing over him. You got the Jawas pulling him down.
That's my
You know,
favorite shot in the movie is
it's really
his
fun.
nightmare. Yeah, I really like that. And then like popping up. Very fun.
So fuck. Mike knows he's being haunted. He knows
Oh
because the
yeah.
next day he sees the fucking tall man just walking down the street, fucking looking right at him.
I love how they use the dry ice from the ice cream truck as like dramatic effect around the tall man. Felt very comical.
He's really feeling up that dry ice
Yeah, he
like
is.
condensation.
He's like, "Oh, this is a good place for me to turn
Ooh.
towards him and look at him." I've got my good panties on.
You got good panties on, feeling real sexy, real spooky. Mm, I just loved that. And then Reggie's just doing his thing, just like, oh, dub
Yeah,
dub dub dub.
yeah, giving out my ice cream. It's a busy
Just
day.
does he make that ice cream himself, or do you think he works
I
for like a
don't think
larger
so.
corporate situation? Yeah.
He probably gets the ice cream from somebody else.
I'm sure I've said this before. I just learned from, villains from the late 80s and 90s that just you never trust a guy with a ponytail.
Nope.
But boy, I really want to trust Reggie in his ice cream truck, which sounds pretty.
Very predatory.
He
Low
just seems like a really nice
ponytail.
guy.
He
Yeah,
does
I've got some
though.
ice. Oh my God, could you imagine? Like he just shows up. He's like, hey, Kyle, I've got some ice cream and I've
You
got
want
a
to jam?
guitar. You want to jam a little bit?
Yeah.
Want to jam some spooky tunes together? I'd be
Yeah.
like, I'd be like, do you have one of the Ninja Turtles with the bubblegum eyes? That's always a good one. Or the strawberry shortcake ice cream bars. Those
Those are
are fucking
good. Hmm.
top tier.
They're still
Absolutely.
delicious to this day.
And the WWF ice cream sandwiches with
I
the
forgot
printed
about
wrestlers
those.
on them.
Yeah.
Those are so good. I could keep going, to be honest. They're
Yeah,
all
you
good.
could.
So that night, Mike is at home, working on this car, and he starts to hear some weird noises, starts to hear some movement in the car. He's underneath it, working on the
Mhm.
engine. Um, it must have been those little fucking Jawas, but they get out of the way and escape. But he sees some feet show
Mhm.
up. Um,
He hears them though, right? Because they make a very distinct sound. That sound sounds like a recording of a dog
hmm,
growling. That's what it sounds like to me.
a little bit. He sees some feet approach, hits him with a hammer, and that's Jody. And Jody's like, God damn it, dude.
You're cock blocking me, you're breaking my toes.
Just stop it. You know how hard it is for toes and you
Oof.
know, fingers and phalanges and shit to heal? That's
Mhm.
awful. Mike's like, fine, you're not gonna fucking believe me. I'm gonna get to the bottom of this myself. Sneaks out in the middle of the night and goes to the mausoleum.
Mhm.
Um, doesn't even bother being, sneaky about it. I like he just walks up and just fucking kicks the glass open.
I know. Yeah, he was feeling real bold.
Yeah, he's like, the lights were on in the house, right? So like he knew
Yeah.
someone was home. He just goes and just like kicks the fucking glass to get inside the basement.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
They didn't give a shit.
At first I was like, this is weird to have like like refrigerator boxes and wigs and mannequins and stuff in this basement. But I was like, wait, no, no, it doesn't. Because like refrigerators probably keep bodies cold or
Mm-hmm.
body parts cold. And then two, yeah, you probably have some wigs if
Yeah.
you need to like dress up corpses and such, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, so that's if anything, that would creep me out in any other person's basement in any other horror movie, but in
I
this
think
one,
it
I'd be
would
like,
still creep me out.
well, because we know where we are, but at least like
Yeah.
there's nothing shocking that would
Yeah.
surprise the shit out of me, you know?
There's an explanation for those things in this instance.
So Mike is inside and goes through the basement into one of like the casket display rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Um, hides in one of them when this one random guy, have we seen this guy before with the hat?
No. And
Again, people that will just come and
he's
go.
wearing heavy eye makeup too.
Yeah.
Interesting thing.
So he goes through the room and leaves. Same with the tall man. Once they've left, Mike gets out of the casket and continues to explore through the hallways of the mausoleum.
Mm-hmm.
This is when also you've got this like giant metal ball, right?
Yeah.
About
What?
the size of like, I don't know what the like a shot put, like maybe.
Maybe.
And
Is
yeah,
would you consider this movie sci-fi?
no.
Sci-fi
I'd still
horror?
call it, well, I mean,
Because it has
I
like different dimensions. The orb is very, I don't know. Maybe that's just magical.
would you call Hellraiser sci-fi horror
No, but that's
or
hell.
Wishmaster?
Wait,
Or
why
is that,
Wishmaster?
well, there's like different worlds and such. Or is that fantasy horror? I don't know.
Hmm.
Maybe it's more fantasy horror than
Maybe
it is.
fantasy horror. Yeah.
But I mean, I guess so. If you have this like, yeah, because you think like this tall man is this alien from another dimension that's
That's what I was
taking
thinking.
bodies and enslaving them. So like, sure. And Tubi says here on the app that it's horror and sci-fi. So I'm just gonna.
There you go. Tubi's a reliable source. Sure.
You've got this giant silver ball that's flying through the hallway, patrolling the place. Um, it chases after Mike while
Is it
Mike's trying to run
security?
away. I guess so.
Yeah.
Brad does a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Well, actually, well, not really.
Well, it kills the wrong
Because
person.
yeah, and then gets blown up the next time you see it. So
Yeah.
Mike's running after, or running from, rather, this giant security sphere that's floating through the place. Um, gets caught by this guy that we saw earlier in the casket viewing room.
Hmm.
And then Mike just bites as hard as he fucking can into this dude's
Damn.
arm,
Yeah, blood just gushing.
just gushing. And the dude gets killed by this. It's such a silly effect, but I
It
like
is.
it.
Yeah, I just say the guy, but the orb effect is fun.
Because the sphere also has like blades that come out of it that start carving
Yeah.
into his fucking head, and then he holds it against his head and just starts spurting blood out the end.
Uh-huh.
It was very fun.
That actually feels very Hellraiser. Speaking of.
So Mikey manages to escape, and then is being chased by the tall man. I guess he makes his way out through like a storage room. It looks like there's just like a bunch of
Yeah.
boxes and shit in there, and a few Javas. He
Yeah.
slams the door behind him and gets the fingers of the tall man that
Yeah.
he just fucking. You see him just moving. He cuts them all off. They fall to the ground, and they all keep fucking moving.
Yeah, they do. And those are that yellow
And that
blood.
yellow blood pus stuff. It was really
It's very
gross.
milky.
Ew, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna grab one of these fingers. I'm gonna need one of these
It
for
was
proof.
smart. It was smart. Yeah.
And he manages to get out and make his way home. There's some Jawas that try to grab him on his way out, but he's able to get out through the graveyard and back home. Next morning, Jody wakes up, goes downstairs to see Mike like asleep. Looks like Mike's been up all night, with his little box of fingers and a shotgun.
Yeah. On patrol.
Mikey wakes up, shows him the fingers, and Jody's like, Okay. I'm officially on board now because that is technically a fucked up situation with these fingers.
That finger would make me believe it too.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So Mike goes ahead and explains everything that he saw all over again. Um, Jody's like, say no more. We are in no position to solve this situation. So
Yeah.
you go ahead, go grab your box of fingers. We're gonna go to the sheriff.
Yeah.
I like how Mikey's like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, he's like,
Hell
I
yeah.
did it. Yeah.
Let's go do it. Um, Runs upstairs. Nothing's moving inside that box.
Oh man.
Oh no. But I wasn't expecting this.
I was
He
not expecting. Yeah, I thought the finger got out.
Yeah, I thought the finger was just going to be just like,
Just like
yeah, just
like a
poking
little
about.
inchworm just kind of
Yeah.
going around the room. Yeah.
So this like giant like
Poking
insect.
around.
Yeah, thank
That's
you.
a finger.
Um, this so this giant insect fucking thing crawls out of this box and just starts fucking just flying around, just attacking like
That
crazy.
that bug creature, it looks so stupid. Everything else looks pretty good in this movie. That creature looks fucking stupid. I do not like it.
Yeah, I don't get how. I don't know. I think yeah, that whole sequence is pretty
We didn't need it.
unnecessary.
Yeah. Is it just to get Reggie on board? Is that what it's
Well,
for?
they could have just showed him the finger and then like, I
Yeah.
don't know, and then
Or it could
dropped
have
the finger down the
escaped.
disposal. Yeah.
It could have escaped. Yeah.
And Reggie's just a good friend, so maybe like Reggie would believe Jody, and Jody's like, no, 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 dude, I saw it, I saw it, and Reggie would be
Yeah.
like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm hopped up off, you know,
So much
again,
sugary ice cream.
yeah, I'm just hopped up on I don't know, what are those like rocket like ice, rocket,
You just wanted
red,
an
white, and
excuse.
blue.
You just wanted an excuse to bring up more different types of ice cream.
He's just like, I've had fucking like 80 of these this morning. I'm ready to go.
I'm
I
ready to
saw
take off.
I saw 20 giant fucking flying insects just on the way here. And well, yeah, sorry. I skipped that part. Reggie shows up. Reggie's on board because he sees this too.
Mhm.
They're able to finally kill this thing by pushing it down the
Yeah.
garbage disposal. But in that they were also like, fuck, well, they're kind of win our evidence too.
Yeah.
Um,
I just
but I
love
think
Reggie's like entrance into this situation because they're clearly like frazzled and he's like, "Hey, Mike, you want to help me out tomorrow with the ice cream truck?" Like it's like you're pretty good at crowd control. Just
your
going
crowd
on
control,
and
yeah.
on and on and then he's like, "Wait, what the fuck's going on here?"
I know.
Reggie's great.
So everyone's on board, everyone arms up. There are a lot of guns in this house.
Yeah, there
I,
are.
I feel like they're always coming back and grabbing more guns and more
Yeah,
ammo.
they have
I don't
so
know.
many guns. And his advice about how to use a gun is intense, to say the least.
I don't know if I agree with it. I forget exactly what he said,
He says never point a gun at a man.
unless you're
And
gonna
then he says
shoot.
unless you're gonna shoot. And don't ever shoot a man unless you're gonna kill him. And don't do any warning shots because warning shots are bullshit.
I don't know if that's like good advice.
It's not. That's what I'm saying. Like you give that advice to a kid and then you're like, here's your Glock. Go get him. Go get those Jawas.
Oh, oh no. Oh no. Those poor little Jawas. So Jody goes to the cemetery. He says, Mike, stay home. Um, and just fuck this music when Jody's entering the
Oh yeah.
graveyard.
Is this the first time that it really like kicks up?
Yeah, and it hits
Yeah.
hard. It's so
Hmm.
good.
It's real
But
good.
before that, it was like maybe some sillier stuff, or it was just that kind of main theme
Yeah.
on the do 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 do
Yeah.
do,
But it was
something like
very
that.
light. Like it
Yeah.
hadn't quite come into it like this like swell here.
Jody makes his way to the mausoleum, goes through the basement window that was kicked out by Mike earlier, enters the house and just quickly gets attacked by this
Hmm.
Jawa.
Yeah.
Um, this time though, he's fucking armed and he shoots the shit out of that thing. I
Dude,
felt
though,
bad.
he shoots that gun so close to his own head. Like if
Yeah.
your head was next to that thing's head,
Yeah.
would you be so quick to
She
fucking
does
shoot
this like
that gun?
over the
Yes. How are you even aiming? Like it's almost like when you're trying to like wash the middle part of your back. Like that's the way that he's
with a
having to
gun.
aim. Yeah, with a gun. Like he's having to aim with a gun, and I was like, I probably would shoot somewhere else. But you know, you can't shoot someone unless you're gonna try to kill him. That's the
True.
rules.
So I was felt bad for this little Java. I was just like, stop it. He's dead. Stop.
He's dead
Like,
twice.
I know. Um, so Jody escapes and runs out of the mausoleum, and then starts getting chased by the hearse,
Hmm.
which we don't know who's driving it at this point.
Yeah, they think no one's driving.
He's able to outmaneuver the hearse for a minute. Mike shows up in the car.
Hmm.
Again, Mike just just
Driving.
immediately saying, "No, I'm not staying home. I'm coming to be
Yeah.
here."
Hmm.
And says, get in the fucking car. They get in. While Mike's driving the car, they're getting chased by the hearse again. Jody's able to get up with the shotgun, get a few shots on to drive this hearse off the side of the
Hmm.
road. Um, they go and investigate and see who the fuck is driving this. And they
Hmm.
find it's like the cops in Scream 2, where you have like the thing that goes fucking like right through them, you
Yeah.
know, and they pull the cloak off this little fucker.
Uh-oh.
It's Tommy.
It's fucking Tommy. I love that they have to do flashbacks of Tommy's face because they're like, hey, just in case you forgot this character existed,
In case you forgot that handlebar mustache, here's Tommy
it's
again.
Tommy. He's still got the mustache,
Yeah,
but not the height.
no. So it was being driven by Tommy, or what used to be Tommy, or a Tommy that is now this, zombie dwarf Jawa. Um,
Yeah, I want to
they're
know.
like,
I'm like, how do they do that? I wanted to know more about how they make these dead bodies, these Jawas. Like, does he remember who he is at all?
I don't know. I think we're probably gonna have to. Well, I was gonna say we're probably gonna have to watch the rest of these movies and find
Highly
out.
unlikely for me.
It's gonna be a no from me. No, it might be. I I like this movie. I do not care if to watch these sequels, but I'll get there. Um,
I'm gonna need somebody to admit that that was not all a dream for me to watch a sequel. Because are we gonna be watching a dream in every movie? I don't think so.
so they've got this dead Jawa Tommy,
Hmm.
and they call Reggie over because they're like, "Hey, we need somewhere to like lock him inside or something, or keep the
Hmm.
body cold, or I don't know what their
Yeah.
plan was exactly."
Yeah, me
But Reggie
neither.
shows up with this ice cream truck. Um, Reggie, he's like, "Is this gonna like leak onto my ice cream?" The answer is yes. Do not
Yeah.
put a a monster
Don't
body inside where you keep your ice cream.
or just
It's gross.
get put that ice cream somewhere else and then have the truck, you know, sanitized and then put the ice cream back.
They get everyone heads back home and they're in the house. Reggie gets startled by this woman named Myrtle. Who the fuck is Myrtle? We never see Myrtle again.
Oh yeah, that's Myrtle. Okay, I was like, when does Myrtle appear? Yeah,
Does Myrtle live there? Has she been there the whole time?
I
And then I
have
was like,
no
wait, are they
fucking
at
idea.
Reggie's house? Is Myrtle like Reggie's mother or something? Or is she help
I have no idea. I don't
at
know who she
Toby,
is.
sorry, Toby's Jody's place?
I don't know.
I don't understand, but she's gone just as quickly.
Yeah, so we
And
don't
then they
even need to
come
worry about Myrtle.
They're all sitting together. Reggie's like, we need to stomp the shit out of this fucker. Stab him in the goddamn heart with a stake. I
Yeah,
love that.
he's ready to
When in
fight.
doubt, ramming a wooden stake through something's heart, it's always a good idea to err on that as a solution because not only is it going to work on vampires, but it generally works on a lot of other things too.
And if it doesn't work completely, it would at least slow them down, and then you
Yeah,
could decapitate them, which I think is probably the best way. But it's hard to just decapitate things while they're up and running around.
because you can decapitate a vampire, correct?
Hmm.
That is one of the ways to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ultimately, Jody comes up with a plan. He says, Mike, God damn it, do not follow me. Reggie, take him to Sally's. I've not mentioned Sally before, but Sally has an antique store, which is going to be really helpful, I guess, to move some of this plot forward, I suppose.
Hmm.
And then you've got Susie, who is not, I don't think, the granddaughter of the psychic grandmother,
I
but
don't
I
know.
don't know at this point.
Yeah.
Either
They're
way,
all
they've got
blonde, right?
that's the confusing part too.
Every
They're all
woman in
blonde
this
white
movie
women.
is
They all look the
blonde.
same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reggie takes him to this antique store in his ice cream truck, which I
Yes.
noticed keeps playing that Three Blind Mice song. I was like, can he not turn that off? Or
I
is he like,
know. I don't want to hear that at night rolling through the streets.
he's like, look, if I'm driving, I'm working. So if you need me to take him, I need to
Time
make this worth my
time is
while.
money. Miles are money.
I he probably had to make a couple stops on the way as kids were chasing him down, you know? Um, and then I guess at some point Reggie would convene with Jody and then just go, yeah, just fucking beat the shit out of this mortician
Hmm.
and just see how it goes, get some answers. I don't know. It's not a really good, clear plan, but
It's not a clear plan. I think they're just gonna go and kick some ass.
yeah. So Mikey's at the antique store with Sally and Susie, and starts going through some of the old photos, and then guess what? Finds out that this fucker's been alive for a long goddamn time, and
Like
then also
horse and
can like
carriage times.
horse and carriage times and can move in the picture like the guy from fucking Sinister.
Oh, you know what else I thought of was the 1990, like the one with Tim Curry. He moves around in the photos.
Or The Ring,
Oh yeah, there's a
right?
few.
At the
Do we
house, like
do
when
we
they
think he actually moved in the photo or Tommy was just like imagining that? It actually happened, right?
well, I mean, it all actually happened in the context of it's all part of Tommy, or sorry, not Tommy, sorry,
Well, you
part
know
of
what I
Mikey's
mean.
dream.
Within this reality that we're in.
Yeah, because that's where he
Okay.
determines that like this dude's immortal, has been living a really long fucking time.
Hmm.
Goes to Sally and says, "You need to get me the fuck out of here." And they just comply pretty easily. They're like,
Yeah, they
"Okay,
do.
yeah, let's go." They are adults, I think.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back at home, Jody is kind of going in and out of sleep, having dreams of being back at the mausoleum, and getting attacked by Jawas. You've got Mike, and then you've got Sally and Susie, on their way back to Mike's house to get Jody.
Hmm.
See how good I am with those names. They
Hmm.
find Reggie's ice cream truck overturned on the side of the road.
Yeah.
So they pull over to investigate. They see that what they thought was the double dead Jawa version of Tommy, he's broken out. So he's still running around somewhere and they can't find Reggie.
Hmm.
So Mike runs back to the car. He's like, we need to fucking go right the fucking now. But they don't leave fast enough. Those two women were just like, what? 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 What?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they also act like the girl with the grandmother. They're very like just kind of airy and ditzy and very like there's very monotone.
Mhm. And so they don't leave fast enough. The Jawa of Tommy, I'm guessing still,
Hmm.
breaks into the car, starts attacking everybody,
Hmm.
somehow manages to throw Mike out the back window and then drive off with the two women inside.
Yeah.
So they're gone. And
Yeah.
we don't actually see them again. They get referenced at some point.
Yeah, but we don't see them. And when Jody is back at the house, that was another thing that I was like, how did that factor into the plot? He had gone to the mausoleum, went back, and then just didn't pick up Mike, just went back to the house and started drifting off in the chair.
I guess. 'Cause I don't know if Jody ever left the house, technically. He like dreamscaped his version
I
himself over there.
guess.
All right, because Mike comes home, Jody's there,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, everyone's dead. Like, the Jawa Tommy ran off with Sally and Susie. We were
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure Reggie's dead. Everyone's dead. Jody's like, okay, I'm gonna solve this, but I fucking mean it, dude. Like, how many times has this been where he's like, Mike, stay home, and he doesn't? Now he's like, I'm just gonna straight up drag you upstairs,
Yeah.
lock you in your room. Do not fucking come out, right? Do you see he uses like a screwdriver or something to
Yeah.
like
I don't understand how that trick works either. I've seen people do that
mm-mm.
in movies before, and I'm like, would that not fuck up your door frame?
So no one puts Mike in a corner.
Mm-mm.
And he like MacGyver's this like a shotgun shell. He puts
Yep.
like a thumbtack in it and then wraps some tape around the shotgun shell with the tack in it and a hammer.
Yeah.
And then so I was like, this can't be real. Like he
It is
swings,
so dangerous.
yeah, he swings this like, and I guess the force of like the tack and the shotgun shell and like hitting the door like causes like a small explosion.
Would that not actually happen? Like, are they not explosive in that way?
I mean, like, maybe.
I don't
I
know enough
guess
about guns or ammunition to
I don't want to
know.
try.
But
Someone can tell
yeah,
us if you
that
want.
like he could have lit the whole fucking house on fire.
So he's escaping out the door. Jody is already, he's peeled out. He's leaving. Mike runs to the front door, opens it up just to find the tall man right there,
Hmm.
saying, like, I was just waiting for you, asshole. I was waiting for him to leave too.
Yeah. He's like, I know
Just
where you live.
music kicks back in.
Yeah.
He picks him up, starts taking him back to the car, throws him in um, back of this hearse, right? And then just starts peeling off.
Hmm.
So both going to the same place. Um, but again, you just can't keep you can't keep Mikey contained.
No.
And so he gets the gun that he has. Again, he keep finding guns in this house that he arms himself
They're
with pretty
really heavily
easily.
armed. And they have like half of a cougar coming out of the wall,
Yeah, what
like
the fuck?
mounted. Yeah, so maybe they're hunters. Maybe that's why that cougar was there to show that they're hunters. Their
Yeah,
family, or maybe their parents were.
it's very convenient, but
Yeah, it
sure.
is. Mm-hmm.
So he's got his gun, Mike does, and he shoots out the window, also shoots down to get one of the tires.
Mm-hmm.
He manages to escape, and then this hearse just explodes.
Yeah. Just
But
was it?
I've got a feeling this tall man is this is not the last we're going to see of him.
No.
So, oh boy. I think I'm doing okay so far. Are you following?
Yes, but I think the plan for Jody this time was to go back to the mausoleum to see if their parents had been turned into Jawas, right?
Right.
Okay.
Because he goes to his father's grave.
Hmm.
It doesn't reveal just yet whether or not he's in there. It's
I
when
don't think he
Mikey.
looked.
Oh, okay, maybe
He
that's
opens
it.
it and then he's like kind of looking, his head is facing upward, but he's closed his eyes and then he closes the casket again. So he couldn't do it.
Man, if you're already doing that, might as
I
well just
know.
look.
If you already
You're already
pulled
going
out the
that far,
casket, yeah, just do it.
and you don't even put the casket back,
Yeah, just
right? Because
leave
Mike
it.
comes in, sees the casket still pulled out,
Desecrate that grave and say, fuck it.
right? So Mike opens it up and then sees that there's no body in there,
Hmm.
implying that they've been turned into dwarves as well,
Hmm.
or Jawas,
Hmm.
or whatever we want to call them.
I think they're called never deads. They don't call them that. They don't call them that in this movie, but they call them that, I think, in future movies.
Hmm. Dang, I don't know whether I hate that or like it.
I know. I have mixed feelings, but
It's
it
corny enough
fits.
that I
I
like
mean,
it.
yeah, it fits because they definitely come back after deadly things happen to them.
After Mike sees that his father's body is not inside this casket, it alerts this metal sphere again that starts chasing after him.
Hmm.
Um, right before it gets him, though, Jody arrives in the nick of time with the shotgun, blows the thing up. Wonderful.
Yeah, it doesn't even ask Mike, like, what are you doing here? How did you get out?
And if you remember, there's also that door, right? That blue door that
Hmm.
the granddaughter of the psychic opened and screamed.
Hmm.
Also, Mike had found earlier.
Hmm.
They know some, it's got all the like carved like statuette like heads over the
Yeah,
door. Um, they
mysterious
make their
door.
way over there. They think their answers are going to be behind this door.
Hmm.
And wouldn't you know it, Reggie's alive. He just pops up. He's like, "Hey guys,
It's like, made it.
you on Dilly Bar?
Yeah.
You want a little Mickey Mouse bar?
Yeah. Might
Hey
have a little
buddies."
bit of Tommy guts on them, but they're still good.
Yeah. It's like I'm covered in a little. Yeah. But hey, but so not only is we learned that Reggie's alive, but he was like, "Oh yeah, and don't worry, I saved Sally too." They all ran
Yeah.
off like scared little rabbits.
Yeah.
And don't worry about the women.
Yeah, they're fine.
This is yeah, phantasm hunting is men's work.
Of
And
course.
so they all make their way inside this door, and then they find this bright white room and these like capsules that like
Hmm.
these like holding tanks that I think he puts bodies in there and then they come out Jawas
Could you fit
essentially.
a whole body in there? I thought that they go in there once they're already Jawas.
Oh, okay. Maybe. I didn't get a good look inside. So we also find these two metal poles that are just sticking up off the ground.
The tuning
Um,
fork.
right, which yeah, ends up being kind of like a tuning fork, I guess. And Mike, now having conquered his fear of sticking his hand in places where he shouldn't, um, from this box from
He was
earlier,
prepared.
he was prepared and sticks his hand and then like finds that basically it's a door, this portal to another
Mhm.
universe or something, and he ends up getting pulled inside. And then this is where he learns that these Jawas are being like made to be like slaves on this home planet where the tall man is from, and the tall man's doing this, or is the tall man doing the bidding for someone else? I don't
He
know.
he seems very presumptuous about what's going on because I mean all he really saw was the little Jawas kind of standing in a line and they were bringing more of those little barrels
Right.
and that's really all that they show.
I guess if the idea is that you're trying to get bodies to be Jawa slaves,
Hmm.
like it seems like a pretty small town they live in. Like go to like some bigger metropolitan area. Like go to New York City, or Chicago or LA or something. Bodies, or I mean, you just go to like, any service company, you probably just find random bodies anywhere.
Yeah, you don't have
I
to go out of your way to lure people into the cemetery as a woman in lavender and
so
get them that way.
I just feel like it'd be a really slow process unless like again, this is the first movie, so like maybe this is like a pilot program situation where they're just like, hey, we're gonna put it like let's try like a small market
Yeah.
and do a soft open, see how it feels, and then
Yeah. Well,
and
I
see
think
where we go
we
from there. Or it's like when like, Taco Bell always tries out some weird new thing, but it's always in a town that's not near you, and you're like, oh, I'm just kidding. I don't know what that's like.
I don't think that's yeah, like I don't think that's a thing, is it?
I think so. I don't know. What were you saying though?
I wonder if they went into this movie knowing, like intending to make sequels, so they kind of withheld some of the backstory a little bit because
Hmm.
the whole premise is them making these little creatures out of dead bodies, but we really don't know much about why or what their purpose is or what they're doing.
I guess if they're already dead, I guess I don't know what the matter is. It's like I'm an organ donor.
But they
Like,
kill them too. They don't just take dead bodies, they
oh,
kill
you're right,
people
you're
too.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. It always gets there, right? Like think of Herbert West. It's always
Yeah.
like, oh, let me just find random dead bodies, and it's like, oh, now I gotta create my dead bodies. So
I need them fresher. But I mean, going back to your organ donor comment, being an organ donor is very different than your body turning into a zombie slave. Like if they were like, "Oh, like we're gonna use your kidney for this like dying man," you'd be like, "Oh, great, awesome." But would you want to be turned into a 3 foot tall killer fucking dog snarling slave? Is that what you want?
Well,
I
well,
don't think that's what you meant by organ donor.
now that you put it that way, I should probably go reread the fine print
Yeah, just in
when I
case.
agreed to be an organ donor, huh? It's like we are technically using all of your organs to do this.
Yeah, you said.
So they were able to pull Mike out and back into this room. The lights go out, everyone gets attacked, everyone runs off in different directions. I think it's just
Mhm.
Reggie that's left in this room.
Yeah.
Um, Jody goes outside the house, is trying to find Mike, who
Yeah.
I don't even know Mike knows where he ended up.
Yeah.
Um,
Jody's just screaming and yelling like nobody's chasing after them.
so Reggie, who's still in this room, sees those poles and he's like, I've done this dance before. This is just a big old giant tuning fork,
Yeah.
which it's not
Yeah.
exactly, but sure. And then he gets I don't know what he does, but he guess he just like activates it
I
somehow.
thought, see, I thought he was trying to turn it off and then made a mistake because it seemed pretty mellow before he fucked with it.
Right.
Although it did
So
have that low, like there's that like low hum that is in the background the whole time and then he turns it or he I don't know if he turns it on or off, but it gets pretty hectic.
he turns on like the vacuum feature and it just
Yeah.
starts like sucking up all of like those Jawa pods that are inside
Hmm.
that room. He manages to barely like crawl his way out of there.
I was impressed by that.
Me too. I was like,
Yeah.
this dude, he's gonna be the hero of all these movies. I
Yeah.
love that. Um, closes the door behind him, makes his way outside. He sees
Mhm.
it's like a bad like windstorm where everything's getting like all just like super blustery. Everything's really loud. Um, Jody and Mike, I think, are able to catch up to each other at some point, but not before Reggie finds this lady in lavender standing
Oh
there
no.
again.
And she's
Uh,
laying, playing her or dead.
right.
Yeah, it's a trick.
Goes and then is standing over her, kneeling over her. I can't remember. And then, yeah, she goes and stabs him.
Hmm.
Doesn't even have sex with him. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not the most like appropriate setting for seduction, but
Yeah. And so she stands over his dead body, and then you see it's the tall man.
hmm.
Tall man leaves. Jody and Mike find Reggie's body. Jody's like, it's too late for him, man. We gotta go. We need to get back to the car. We need to fucking get the fuck out of here.
Um, yes, but also, is it like, yes, he's dead, but is it too late for him? Because now they're going to turn him into a Jawa. Like, you're just going to leave your friend's body behind for them to turn him into a zombie monster, like your fucking other friend and your parents?
I would have tried. I would have
I would
argued
have,
that.
yeah, I would have been like, no, we can't let him turn into one of those things.
Mm, well, they disagreed with you, Natalie. So they left Reggie behind. They get in the car
Hmm.
and they escape. So he drops Mike off at the house and tells him, "Let's just get more ammo." Again, I don't know how fucking loaded this fucking house is, and armed to the teeth this house is.
It's very
Um,
armed.
and he's like, "You need to go get ammo, get everything we need. I'm gonna go to this mine shaft that has not been brought up before,
Yeah,
and I'm going to camouflage, you know, some part where he'll fall through and he'll get trapped in the mine shaft, and that's our answer."
yeah.
Again, real dumb idea. Based
A
off what?
really wishy-washy plan.
Yeah. So Mike's back at home only to get attacked by the tall man again and chased through the
Hmm.
house. The tall man's just like, I am not fucking around any further
Yeah,
with you, little
he's
boy.
pissed now.
This is your time to die. Um, Mike runs out of the house. The tall man's chasing after him. This is all like kind of fun. And again, it's like it's so He runs and then like it's almost like he's like in like deep like mud or quicksand that's like slowing him
Mm-hmm.
down. What, I guess a few years before Nightmare on Elm Street, like when she's trying to run up the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens. So again, very that's just something that happens in dreams, I guess.
I've never dreamt that I was in quicksand.
I think it is like or like that running and like sinking in something. I think that is like a common dream thing. I think I remember that in like a DVD feature of Nightmare on Elm Street. They talk about it.
Hmm,
I don't know.
interesting.
I could be way off. So he manages to thought at least gain a little bit of ground running from the tall man. He's running through the woods. He runs into the lady in lavender who gives him a little smile and a laugh. He keeps running.
I just got a little dagger.
Yeah. And then he leads the tall man to the mine shaft. I guess knows where the camouflaged part is going to be,
Mm-hmm.
jumps over it. The tall man, hear me out, Natalie. The tall man falls into this hole, and that goes into this mine shaft,
He
sure.
sure does.
And then these boulders and rocks just start kind of falling very
Giant
conveniently
boulders.
right into this hole
Mm-hmm.
to cover him up. No problem. We're good.
Yeah. Oh, it worked out. Those boulders probably weigh thousands of pounds.
Does he go and find Jody? No. Does Jody go and find him? No. Is there
They show
any
Jody at the top of the
explanation?
hill. He gives a
Oh, do
thumbs
they?
up after the boulders. Yeah, he's standing up there and he does that double thumbs up.
Oh, he's probably the one pushing the boulders down.
He
Then don't mind
cannot
me.
put, that's why I said they're thousands of pounds. You can't move those fucking boulders.
I must have looked down at my phone at that part. So he makes I guess next shot is just him at home and he's
Mm.
in bed and he's either going to sleep or he's waking up. And then you have this jarring shot then to him downstairs in the living
Next,
room by the
yeah, next to the
fireplace
fireplace.
with Reggie.
Hmm.
And
Finally, not in ice cream man clothes.
not nice cream man clothes, just real nice like pajama flannels or something. He's looking very
I thought he
nice.
was wearing jeans.
Oh, was he? Oh, maybe
Yeah,
not.
like with a
But
flannel shirt.
yeah, he's looking great.
Yeah.
And Mike's explaining all of this, and Reggie's like kind of softly correcting him, being like, no, man, Jody died last week in the
Hmm.
car crash. Like that, there's no tall man. There's none of that happening. Um, I'm sorry. And and this is where, we understand that this is all a dream. That
Hmm.
this is Mike learning and having to relearn and relive again that Jody's gone. And again, like if you watch this movie, it's like, yeah, clearly this is a dream.
Hmm.
The way that it makes no sense. Not in a way that just like any movie that doesn't make sense, you can just like, oh, it's because it's a dream. But like it's the way that it doesn't make sense. I don't know. Does that make sense? But either way, Reggie's like, let's not dwell on this. Let's get the fuck out of town.
Yeah, let's go on a
I've got
trip.
I've got an ice cream truck filled with ice cream. Let's just go where the road takes us. Who cares where we go?
Yeah.
Go get packed, you little scamp.
Yeah. Reggie's a real one for taking care of Jody's brother.
I know I know he's like, hey man, I can't replace Jody, but like, hey man, I'm gonna try. Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
do everything I can. And then I don't know. I don't know what an ice cream man's salary is in 1979, but
Couldn't be great.
he's like, I get to move into this house,
Yeah.
like I just have to look over this kid,
Yeah.
just yeah, okay, all right,
Not
I
that
can do
bad.
this.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm your Uncle Reggie.
Hmm.
I don't know if yeah, I don't know if like the court system the foster care system would allow Reggie to be the guardian. I don't know.
He could fight for it.
Yeah, because I mean, there is an aunt that they've talked about, so
Hmm.
I
And
think
if
that would probably
she,
be the next choice.
well, if she was the next one and she's like, fuck, I don't want that kid.
It's like, no, thank
She's
you.
like, sure, let the ice cream man take him. He'll be happier with him anyway. Free ice cream for life.
Yeah, kids love ice cream, right?
I think, and then they do show Mike at Jody's grave, and
Yeah.
one of the most shocking things to me, and it's one of those things of like when you're looking at the past, people look older than they are. Jody is supposed to be 24.
Yeah, he looks like he's 30.
He looks at least 30. So that I like gasped. Like wasn't didn't care that he was dead. I was just like, "What? He's 24?"
Had to double check that math and just gasp.
Yeah, I did. I paused and had to like sit there and subtract.
So Reggie's like, hey, this, man, this is a fucking buzzkill. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Let's get some ice cream. I'm gonna grab the acoustic guitar. We're gonna fucking jam a little bit. We're gonna have some tunes and some treats. Let's go where the road takes us. Like, Mike's thinking like, I don't know, man, being an orphan now sounds like pretty good.
Yeah.
But he's like, let me go get packed. He goes
Hmm.
upstairs. Um, doesn't make it very far because in his, what do you call that? Kind of like the door length mirror into his closet.
Hmm.
You see the tall man, he's standing right there. It just fucking bursts out, pulls him inside.
I love the way he yells out, boy.
Yeah, boy. Yeah. Um, and that's the end of our movie.
Hmm.
Phantasm.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything?
No, I actually think you did a really good job. I'm
Ah, thank you.
considering, and so having watched this movie twice, 2 days in a row, I was surprised by that ending. And I don't know that I would have been that surprised had I not known that there's like a whole franchise off of this, because now I want to watch the second one just because I feel like I'm owed an explanation. I need to know if this is actually a dream or if maybe he dreamt it and the tall man actually does exist, because we can't just move forward with that narrative of this just all being a dream, especially if Reggie's going around hunting and showing up in every movie. So that
Yeah.
that really threw me after already having been confused by a lot of the motivations and the plot of the movie.
See, and that's if it weren't for these sequels, the movie would be a better movie if it was just a dream, I think.
I agree,
So,
but it
uh,
still feels lazy.
mm, I'm curious to hear some taglines.
This one has some fun taglines
Love it.
and some not fun taglines, but
Ugh, don't love that.
I mean, there's five, so not too many. Beware the ball, beware the tall man, beware the never dead.
So,
They already call him never dead there.
yeah, and it's just called the ball, that giant sphere, that silver thing. Does
I
that come
guess so.
back? Hmm,
I think that's like a franchise thing. Yeah.
maybe. Okay.
Yeah. Where the dead are no longer that way.
Yeah, I like that. Because then you're
I
just
like,
like, oh, I'm curious. How do they get not that way?
yeah, because I do feel like they could have just said where the dead are no longer dead,
Yeah.
because it doesn't roll off the tongue. Okay. This ball wants to play with you for keeps.
I I don't know. I don't like it being about like that ball.
That you see twice for like two
Yeah.
seconds. Yeah,
Does it want
I
to play
agree.
with you for keeps?
Apparently.
I don't know. Okay,
Okay.
next.
If this one doesn't scare you, you're already dead.
Hmm. Yeah, okay.
Here's my favorite.
Love it.
If you're looking for horror that's got balls, it's found you.
That's dumb. No, stop.
It's so dumb.
Ugh.
Are they just so fixated on the ball? Did they like maybe they cut scenes that had more ball?
Or there were two of them originally that like dangled together. Like,
Well, it says that it's got balls. We
okay.
only see one ball, really.
You're right. Damn, I do need to watch maybe at least one more of these movies to see what this ball situation is.
It just, yeah, for a little bit more clarification on what's going
Mm,
on. And I feel like I do feel like a franchise like this could have potential to have a better sequel than the original.
boo scores. Would you like me to go first?
Yeah.
I think this movie is really charming. I can see how movies, you know, drew inspiration from this. I like how just kind of gritty and low budget the whole thing is.
Hmm.
Um, it does very little, it does a lot with not a lot, and I like that. It's, hmm, I like Reggie. I
Love
even like
Reggie.
Mike sometimes too, you know, and I like the tall man character. He is pretty off-putting and creepy.
Mm-hmm.
I can see where they want to make more with him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, hmm. I struggle between a 2.5 and a 3.
Okay.
This music is really fucking good, by the way. Love that. This is
Mm-hmm.
probably
Really
one of
good
my
score.
already like top 20 favorite horror soundtracks is this one.
Mm.
I found this one on Spotify.
Yeah, it's good.
And yeah, I'm gonna go with a I'm feeling generous. I'm gonna go with a 3.
Wow. That's high. High praise. I'm okay. I would say we had a completely different viewing experience aside from the score.
I could tell.
I really enjoyed the score, so much so that when I was watching it the second time and I lost interest in the film, I was still listening to it, but I didn't have eyes on it sometimes. So, what works for me in this movie is the score. I really enjoy the tall man. I do think that he's fun and very scary. Um, I also really enjoy Reggie as a character. But aside from that, maybe I'll give it some good practical effects. It's got some fun effects. But the plot is confusing and too airy and dreamlike before you know that it's a dream. And I get that it's a twist and all that, and Jody's dead, but I don't give a shit about Jody. Jody has no personality. He can't act. Like, no one in this movie is a good actor. I didn't
Aw.
enjoy any of it except for Reggie and the tall man. So I'm going real hard on this. The Jawas are not scary. They don't feel threatening. They don't play music when they attack. They play that cheap ass dog growling sound as their sound. I was not entertained while I was watching this movie for the most part. I I was really struggling to get through it. This reminded me of watching Eraserhead. That's how I felt watching this. Was that in the 70s too? Was that also 70s?
I think so.
Maybe that's where I got that negative mindset on the 70s.
Uh-huh.
So, with all of that being said, and so many like questions in my brain that I was like, gosh, I was like, I don't really know what the purpose, like what their agenda is, the tall man and where he's from and all those things. But I didn't even care. I was like, I don't want to watch any more of these. The thing I care the most about is continuity. I just want to see if they're going to be assholes. So I'm going to watch the second one just to see if this is a dream and Mike is still alive or if he's dead. That's all I need to know. With that, I'm going to give this movie one boo. It gets a whole half a
Woo!
boo for the score.
Okay.
Yep.
That's oof, harsh. But hey, but you know what?
Harsh. Harsh but honest.
I validate, everything you're saying. I hear you. Um, I think I'm just as happy not watching the rest of these movies and being like, it's a dream. And then in the sense where like, of course, what's it? Like Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, of course they're gonna have that little fake out
Mhm.
at the end where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, did Freddy actually die, or was
Hmm.
this whole thing a fucking dream, or whatever, whatever.
But we know that things are dreams and not dreams in Nightmare on Elm Street. That one's a little clearer.
I think this one's clear-ish. Um, so yeah, I don't know.
But I love when we hard disagree.
And I liked it the second time I liked it even better the second time I watched it. And I feel even just this conversation, I was like kind of just vibing with it even more. So I love that I was going one way and you were just going the absolute other axis. I love that.
But I
Um,
I will say your like talking points on it put things together for me in a way where I was like, okay, these things make a little bit more sense. And I could see why someone like else would find that entertaining, but I did not find this movie to be fun or entertaining. Only
yeah, I
only in
tried to do
small
my
ways.
part.
Yeah. Only in small ways. Like there were definitely parts of it that I was like, "Oh, that was fun," or, "This was cute," or "Reggie is fun." But I also wasn't expecting our protagonist to be a child. So that did throw me off a little bit too.
Well, that's all I've got on Phantasm. Did I miss anything? Do you have anything else?
No, I think I've talked enough shit on it. I'm so sorry if you love this movie.
Sounds like you need a break from this.
I'm real fired up now.
Yeah. All right. Take care, everybody. Don't, just, I don't know. Just, I mean, clearly don't put bodies in the back of your ice cream truck. That's a given. And just like,
Yeah.
don't mix work with your personal life, right? I think maybe that's
Is that the
it's a,
moral?
it's a metaphor, right? For
Don't
putting Tommy in the back of your ice cream truck.
don't
Can't mix
spy
those
on
things.
people fucking.
Yeah, okay. You know what? Never mind. Don't be a
There's your
pervert.
lesson. Don't be a pervert. Don't watch people
Yeah,
fucking. And don't ride your dirt bike through a cemetery.
true.
No.
Also, don't have sex in the cemetery.
Don't do anything in the cemetery that isn't going and respecting the dead.
And if you're gonna desecrate your father's grave and pull his casket out of his mausoleum cubby, um, put him back.
Put it back. It
Put
that's
it
like
back.
that's like opening the refrigerator door and
Yeah.
just leaving it open.
Oh,
No one's doing that.
terrible.
Yeah, it's
All right,
terrible.
everybody. Take care. Three, two, one. Go.
Thanks for listening to our episode on Phantasm. If you had a ball with this episode, you could subscribe to our podcast and leave us a killer review on whichever platform you choose to listen. You can find us on Instagram at 321ghostpod and give us a follow. We would love to hear from you in the comments. You can shoot an email to 321ghostpod@gmail.com to share any thoughts, questions, or recommend a movie you'd like to hear us chat about. Next week, we're diving back into our Chucky franchise series with Child's Play 3. Thanks again for listening, and remember, don't ride dirt bikes or fuck in the cemetery. Show some respect for the dead. 3, 2, 1, ghost.